of Untold Hollywood Stories. Subscribe now. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was more than just a superstar. He was an icon who defined music, dance, and performance for generations. But behind the glittering lights, record-breaking albums, and sold-out concerts was a man carrying immense pain, pressure, and personal struggles. On June 25, 2009, the world lost not just a performer, but a legend whose final days remain surrounded by mystery, controversy, and heartbreak. This is the untold story of Michael Jackson's final days, the rise, the fall, and the shocking truth about his last hours. Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana. The eighth of 10 children, his childhood was marked by poverty, discipline, and the first seeds of fame. His father, Joseph Jackson, was strict and demanding, pushing Michael and his brothers into music at a young age. By the age of 6, Michael had joined his older brothers, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon, in what would become the Jackson 5. Their sound was electric, their energy unmatched, and at the center was little Michael, his voice angelic, his moves captivating. Soon, Motown signed the Jackson 5, and hits like ABC, I Want You Back, and I'll Be There made them global sensations. The world had found its new prodigy. But even as the applause roared, Michael's childhood was fading away. He once said, "I can't remember being a child. I always felt like I was working, like I had a responsibility." That missing childhood would haunt him for the rest of his life. In the 1980s, Michael Jackson broke away from the Jackson 5 and redefined himself. His album, Off the Wall, gave a taste of his genius. But it was Thriller, in 1982, that changed everything. With over 66 million copies sold, it became the best-selling album of all time. Songs like Billie Jean, V Beat, and Thriller weren't just hits, they were cultural revolutions. Michael wasn't just a singer. He was an innovator. The moonwalk, the dazzling music videos, the fashion statements, he was shaping global culture. He became the king of pop, adored across continents. Yet, with fame came isolation. The bigger he became, the lonelier his world grew. Michael's career was a story of brilliance, but also of pressure. Every move was scrutinized. Every performance had to be perfect. The media, once celebrating him, began tearing him down. His changing appearance became tabloid fodder. Speculations about his skin condition vitiligo fed wild rumors. His eccentric lifestyle, including his famous Neverland Ranch, earned him the label of Wacko Jacko, a name he despised. By the 1990s, controversy overshadowed his artistry. Allegations of child abuse in 1993 and again in 2003 tarnished his reputation. Though never convicted, Michael's public image was shattered. He became withdrawn, insecure, and obsessed with regaining love from fans who once worshipped him. Behind the scenes, Michael was fighting private battles. Years of touring, injuries from stage accidents, and the stress of performing led to dependence on prescription medications. He suffered from chronic insomnia. Doctors reported that he relied on strong sedatives just to get a few hours of sleep. The pressures of lawsuits, financial troubles, and loneliness deepened his dependence. He was trapped in a cycle: perform for money, endure the pressure, medicate to escape. Friends and family noticed. They tried to intervene, but Michael was surrounded by enablers, people who gave him what he wanted because he was Michael Jackson, the king. In 2009, Michael announced a monumental return, a series of concerts in London titled This Is It, 50 shows. Millions of tickets sold within hours. The world was ready for the king of pop, a guy. But behind the excitement was exhaustion. Michael hadn't performed a full tour in over a decade. His body was frail. He struggled through rehearsals, often showing flashes of brilliance, but also moments of weakness. Crew members noticed he was thin, tired, and anxious. Still, he pushed on. He wanted this comeback to secure his legacy, provide for his children, and prove to the world and himself that he was still the greatest entertainer alive. In June 2009, Michael was living in a rented mansion in Holmby Hills, Los Angeles. The house was grand, but inside, Michael was restless. He battled insomnia night after night. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was hired to help him sleep and prepare for the demanding tour schedule. Murray began administering powerful drugs, including propofol, an anesthetic never meant for home use. Michael called it his milk. He believed it was the only way he could get rest. Rehearsals for This Is It continued at the Staples Center in La. Dancers and staff recalled his incredible energy during his last rehearsals on June 23 and 24. They said he seemed happy, motivated, and excited about the show. But behind closed doors, his body was giving up. Nights without natural sleep, heavy medications, a fragile man under unbearable pressure. The morning of June 25 started like many others. Michael had rehearsed until late the night before. He returned home past midnight, exhausted yet unable to sleep. Dr. Murray administered medications through the night. Finally, he gave Michael propofol. Around 11:30 a.m., Michael Jackson was found unresponsive in his bed. Murray attempted CPR, but it was too late. At 2:26 p.m., at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, Michael Jackson was pronounced dead. The king of pop was gone at just 50 years old. The world was stunned. News outlets across the globe broke the story, and millions of fans poured into the streets, singing his songs, mourning their idol. Michael's death was ruled a homicide caused by acute propofol intoxication. Dr. Conrad Murray was charged with involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison. The trial revealed shocking details about Michael's dependency on drugs, the negligence of those around him, and the dark truth of his final days. For his fans, the details were heartbreaking. The king of pop, who gave the world joy and music, had died in isolation, battling demons few understood. Though his life ended in tragedy, Michael Jackson's legacy remains untouchable. His music, his dance, and his humanitarian efforts continue to inspire. He influenced artists from Beyoncé to Justin Timberlake, from Usher to The Weeknd. His charitable work, supporting over 30 organizations, showed his compassion for the world. Michael once said, "I'll never stop helping and loving people the way Jesus said to." That love is what millions remember. Even today, concerts, documentaries, and Broadway shows celebrate his genius. His story is a reminder that even legends are human, that behind the crown of a king is a fragile soul. Michael Jackson's final days were tragic, but his life was extraordinary. From Gary, Indiana, to global superstardom, his journey was unlike any other. And while the world will always mourn how he left us, it will forever celebrate what he left behind: his music, his dance, and his eternal influence. If you love untold Hollywood stories, subscribe now. Whitney Houston's final hours. The tragic truth revealed.